Today I'm going to show you how to make a mini messenger bag. It's a very fast and quick project to make, and these are great for kids or for cell phone purses. You can use any kind of fabric you want to, and your straps can be skinny, thin, long, it doesn't really matter. The link in the description box will give you the pattern pieces to make this and tell you how to make those straps wider or shorter. So first thing you're going to do is cut out your 3 pattern pieces. You're going to have your main pattern piece. You need 4 pieces of fabric, 2 for the outer purse and 2 for the lining. Your closure flap, you need 1 for the outer purse and 1 for the lining. And then your strap, you're going to cut with the pattern piece on the fold of the fabric. First thing we're going to work on is your flap closure. You need those 2 pieces of fabric on top of each other, trace the pattern right on top, and then cut it out. Here's what it looks like once you cut it out. And you're going to lay the fabric pieces with the right sides together. And then you're going to pin or clip it in place, but you're not going to pin the top because you're not going to sew the top closed. Now, using a 1/4 seam allowance, go ahead and sew all the way around your purse flap closure, leaving the top open. This is what it looks like once it's been sewn. And now we're going to clip a few notches right where the curves are. You always want to do this when you sew curves so that when you flip the fabric right side out, there's no bulk at that curves and your fabric won't pucker. Once you've done that, go ahead and turn your fabric right side out through that opening at the top and smoothen out any seams and your edges with your fingers. I like to use a chopstick, so I go ahead and smoothen out my edges and my seams to make sure it all lays nice and flat. Now we can put that to the side and we're going to work on your actual purse pieces. So you're going to trace your pattern piece right on top of your 4 fabric pieces and cut them out. Now we're going to separate our 2 outer pieces that you're going to show on the outside of the purse and your 2 lining pieces. I'm using a cotton lycra for my outer. It's a custom fabric that I thought was adorable. And the inner is just 100% cotton. So go ahead and put the fabric right sides together on both of your fabric pieces for the outside purse and for the lining. Then you're going to pin or clip all the way around just like you did your flap closure, but leaving the top open. When you get to the lining that I'm working on now, you're going to make 2 small marks at the bottom of your purse lining to remind you not to sew those areas closed. You want a little hole right there at the bottom. Now for your outer purse, go ahead and sew all the way around the sides and the bottom. And the lining, you're going to sew all the way around the sides to the bottom wherever you put your marks. You don't sew 2 to 3 inches at the bottom, and you don't sew the tops closed. And this is what it looks like once you've gotten it all sewn. I normally use about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you can see here that there's an opening right here that we left at the bottom, as well as the openings that we did not sew on the tops. Go ahead and clip your corners to reduce that bulk when you flip the fabric right side out, and you're going to do it for your lining and your outer purse. Now we can put our lining piece to the side, and we're going to flip our main outer purse right side out. Smoothen the edges with your finger. Again, I like to use a chopstick. And then we are done with that for right now. We're going to work on making our straps now. You can buy pre-made straps, you can use ribbon, or you can use the instructions that are in my tutorial to how to make different lengths and sizes based on who you're making this for. So I'm going to show you how to do it on to make this strap on just a little piece of the fabric, but you're going to do it all the way down when you're doing it. So go ahead and fold your fabric in half hot dog style and press it with your iron. You're going to press it with your iron to make sure that you can see this center crease here. Once you find that middle crease, go ahead and fold the bottom edge right up to that middle crease. And then you're going to press it flat with your iron. Then you're going to get the top edge and bring that down to the middle crease and press that with your iron. Again, you're doing this all the way down your strap. I'm just showing you a small portion. Once you've done that, fold it in half. And then you're going to top stitch right at the top to make sure that those closures stay closed. Here's what your strap looks like when you're done. And you will have two raw edges at the top and bottom of your straps. Don't worry about those. Those get hidden inside of the purse once you're finished making it. And you're going to grab your outer purse piece and flip it to the back side so that the back is facing up. Place one strap about 1 centimeter from the side, and then place the other strap 1 centimeter from the other side. You're just going to let these lay in place for right this second. Now get your flat closure with the right side facing down. You want your lining piece facing up, and place this right on top to make a sandwich. Now you're going to pin or clip right over where you have those straps put in place so that they don't move. And then you can add a couple more pins and clips if you'd like to hold that middle piece in place as well. Make sure that you don't clip the back piece or the back of that lining. You only want to clip it to the front. You're going to sew using a very small 1/8 of an inch basting stitch just to hold it all in place. And then lift your flap. And you're going to curl your straps up so that it's right on top of the bottom of that purse. Don't roll them so that it's across the top because you're going to need that space to sew in just a few minutes. Don't put it across there. Put your flat piece back down, and then you're going to fold this in half. And then grab your lining of your purse. Put your folded purse inside of that lining. And then you're going to match up the two side seams of your lining with the two side seams of your outer purse piece. And then pin or clip those in place. You can see I'm matching up the lining of the outside with the lining seam of the inside. Now I'm going to straighten it out so that the outer and inner fabrics line up, and add a couple more clips. And then we're going to sew all the way around the diameter of this bag. Here's what it should look like once you've gotten that sewn. And now that hole in the opening of our purse lining, you're going to pull the fabric right side out from that hole in the lining. Once you've gotten it pulled out, go ahead and get your chopstick, your fingers, or whatever tool you're using, and smoothen out all of the seams. And now we're going to work on closing that opening. Put your fingers in the opening and then just tuck the fabric on the front and back side of that lining inwards just so it's flush with the rest of your fabric. And then you're going to top stitch that close just like that, just right here. You can use an invisible ladder stitch if you want to. I don't find it necessary because it's the lining of the purse and it's a very small stitch. Nobody's going to see it. But if that bothers you, go ahead and hand sew using an invisible ladder stitch. Now you're going to tuck your lining inside of your purse, straighten out those seams with your chopstick or other item, and you are finished sewing this purse. You can top stitch around that top where my fingers are if you want to, just to hold the fabric in place. I don't find it necessary, especially with this pattern, but if you'd like to, you can. Here's what it looks like when you're all done. If you want to add some fusible fleece padding to make it a little extra sturdy and padded, you can do that by adding it to all 3 of your outside pieces before you start sewing.